Hi everybody, it's Adam from Loose Pixel, and today I want to talk about a very important video that PewDiePie, the number one subscribed YouTuber on Earth with over 62 million, although that number grows very quickly, subscribers, that he put out last week that I feel reflects on all of us as professionals, as individuals, and as creators of any kind. Now, just a little mention here for anybody new to my channel. Because I have PewDiePie in the title, I am aware of the fact that that might generate a lot of attention because I've got the name PewDiePie in it. That's why a lot of other YouTubers use his name to generate a lot of attention. That's not the purpose of it. I'm actually referencing something very important that he mentioned with relation to my own channel, but my channel is about art learning and art education, generally speaking. Although I do feel that this is a lesson that you could definitely benefit from a lot as a general professional or a general member of the online world, which the gross majority of us are nowadays. But do take into account that this is an art channel. So I'm not Philip DeFranco. I'm not doing a video about PewDiePie. I'm reflecting on something that he said for the sake of my channel and to teach the art career specifically, okay? Last week, PewDiePie put out a video talking about what it means to be a YouTuber, what it means to be the #1 YouTuber, and the feelings that you get when you start to gain these subscribers. And he described it beautifully. What he said was, when I first started being a YouTuber, when I first got my first few subscribers, like my first 5 subscribers, I got this jolt of euphoria, this endorphin rush that, holy smokes, somebody actually cares about my content. They find it worth subscribing to. And then that number changed to 10, and then to 50, and then to 100, and then to 200, and 500, and 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, and then 500,000, and then 1,000,000. And well, so many years later, he's over 62 million subscribers. And what he says is, that feeling of euphoria, that jolt of endorphin, that happiness, that wow feeling that you get, is only maintained through growth. It does not grow. Your brain is not capable of secreting more endorphin than it's designed to. Your endocrine system is only capable of so much, right? So what happens is it starts to function a lot more like a drug, where at the beginning you're like, oh, cool. And then that cool continues, but you have to take more of this drug. You have to get a higher number of subs in order to continue to get that rush. Because he said at this point in his life, if he gets, 500,000 subs in a month, that's quite an accomplishment. But if he gets 10,000 subs in a month, that's like, oh man, things are starting to drop. But that's an incredibly important thing that he's mentioning, the fact that euphoria, that joy, that feeling of accomplishment that he gets only comes from increased growth. But he said, this growth is finite. This cannot continue forever. Think about the percentage of the human population that are subscribed to his channel. That's a very big deal. Very big deal. Numbers that any marketing or advertising company on earth couldn't even fathom getting. And he is one guy, one little Swedish guy who's managed to pull that off all on his own. That's quite an accomplishment. Yet even he can feel depressed if those numbers start to drop. And there was a certain point in his career he realized that continued growth is not a sustainable way to maintain a sense of accomplishment and joy in his career. He had to adhere, he had to lean his attention towards something else. And you could see when this was happening in his channel, not within the last year, where he started to make these little, slightly more serious videos, and we started to talk about how he felt, and how he started to get a little bit depressed, and how he felt like he needed to change things around at the sacrifice of potentially losing subs or losing popularity. And he decided, I'm going to start producing content that matters to me, that I enjoy doing. Because at a certain point, that number starts to take over your life so much that that becomes the focus of your career. And you start to lose touch with who you are and what matters to you in the first place. He's grown up. He was a young boy when he first started his channel, and now he's grown up well into his adulthood. You can't keep sustaining the same pattern. Things have to change. He has to evolve. He has to mature with his content and has to produce stuff that has meaning to him. Because even to somebody with these hundreds and hundreds of videos he's produced and this incredible popularity, being on talk shows and being invited to different events and holding a #1 spot on a platform like YouTube, he's still very unsatisfied and very unhappy. And there was a point where you could see that if this shit continues, he's gonna start to fall into a depression. Look at YouTubers like Jenna Marbles, like Shane Dawson, like Matthew Santoro, like Rob Dyke, like Kaylee Elise, like all of these different very famous YouTubers. I mean, I'm subscribed to hundreds of different YouTube channels. Anyone who's made a really big name for themselves, there's a certain point, if they have to keep pumping out this content all the time, maintain this high energy, this smile, this keep going type of attitude every day, it will burn you out. How would you feel being told that on a daily basis you have to keep this big fat smile on your face and act at top energy every single day? Think about how you'd feel if somebody kept having to try to pump that out of you every single day. That will mess you up, especially if what you're producing doesn't really matter to you. If you know and feel deep down inside that you're being something of a phony. And when Matthew Santoro came out, the guy who does 50 Amazing Facts, I love his channel, when he came out and he published a very candid video. He's a very brave guy. He's very capable of exposing vulnerability. And when he came online and he produced his video about his depression, I believe he was attributing his depression to a pre-existing condition, so to speak, something that existed before he got into YouTube. But I'm not sure if that existed before YouTube or it was a result of YouTube and his need to keep putting a stupid smile on his face every single day. And it burnt him out, it wore him out. Either or, I'm sure it was not helping his situation. I don't produce nearly the same amount of content as they produce, but I put as much of myself into my content as they do. I put as much effort into the production of my videos with audio and video and lighting and cameras and all this type of stuff. I put a lot of effort into it. But if I produced videos for the sake of getting subscribers and likes alone, I wouldn't be here today. I wouldn't have been able to maintain it because I've already got a full-time career and I've got many other responsibilities I've got to deal with. I can't keep feeding this machine forever because it'll burn me out. So I made a decision early on in my career, reinforced by a fantastic YouTube video by the YouTube channel Veritasium, which I still watch religiously to this day, where he talked about quality versus quantity content and where he had made the decision to pursue a quality-based YouTube channel at the sacrifice of faster growth because he wanted to be proud of the content that it created. Because he wanted to deeply research and produce content that really mattered, that stuff that he could really be proud of, stuff he could look back at a video he produced 10 years before and say, wow, I'm still proud of that thing that I produced. And he gained huge popularity. Now he's a world famous YouTube channel, but he took his time producing it because he wanted to focus on that which mattered to him most. And as such, has maintained a very positive outlook on life and his creations and his channel and his future, because what he creates feeds his soul, brings him happiness, brings him joy, brings him a sense of fulfillment, and makes him feel like he's actually contributing something of great value to his viewers. Before I made it anywhere as a YouTuber, I had that mantra sitting in the back of my head where whatever I produce, I'm producing it because I want to be entirely happy about what I produce. But I've never produced videos for the sake of it. To me, I don't watch Keenan Lafferty, for instance, because he's got so many subs and he's Mr. Popular. No, I watch his videos because he's awesome. I watch his videos because he's fun. I watch his videos because I get value and quality, and he's got a great warm personality and he inspires me to keep creating work. And that is why I hit that subscribe button. Not because I looked and said, oh shit, he's popular, I might as well add my name to the list. No. Has nothing to do with that. And when Keenan or Tyler or Noah Bradley or Anthony Jones or Fengzu or any of these other YouTubers, if their subs start to drop, as long as they continue to produce quality content, I will continue to love them faithfully. This comes back to you as an artist. This comes back to you as a producer of content for public. Your art is your YouTube video if you're not a YouTuber already, okay? Your art is an extension of yourself. There is nothing more personal to any artist than their art. It's like holding up your granny panties up to everybody and saying, this is me, what do you think? If you're producing this artwork for the sake of likes on Facebook or Instagram or ArtStation, you're going about it wrong. Because if you don't get likes, if you post something and it gets 1 like or 1 heart from your mom or your best friend and nothing else, that does not mean at all, by any stretch of the imagination, that your artwork is any less valuable than somebody who gets 100,000 likes seconds after they post something on Facebook. I'll give you a really good example of what I'm talking about. I remember years ago when I first met Tyler and we first started to get to know each other, we were having this conversation about our art. And he told me, he said, it blows my mind how there's this one particular image that I drew that by today's standards, I mean, look at the masterpieces he produces on a daily basis. If you compare this particular image to what he's producing now, I mean, it's much less professional. It's not nearly as good as what he's producing now. Now he's just like, he can draw circles around that. But it's to date one of his most popular images. And it's popular because of the subject. I think it's a Chewbacca riding a squirrel or something like that. And because of the content, because of the actual subject material itself, it gained a ton of attention. If you look at it compared to what he produces now, it doesn't even hold a candle next to it, but it gained a lot of popularity. Now, what if Tyler looked at the popularity of that particular piece and said, holy smokes, everybody likes Star Wars stuff, so he decided to become a Star Wars artist? How long would he be able to maintain that? Not long at all. He would burn out that subject as quickly as he could. So you go, okay, well that doesn't work anymore. Maybe I can do stuff on Mulan, or maybe I can do stuff on Lilo and Stitch, or maybe I can do stuff on Spirited Away, or and you keep trying to gravitate and grab towards subjects that other people like. We do this all the time. We look at the stuff that Noah Bradley produces, or look at the stuff that Clint Cearley produces, or we look at the stuff that all these other different popular artists online are producing. And we want what they want. We want their popularity. We want to get as many likes as they do. And we fall into the same trap as everybody else is in thinking that the more likes, the more subs that these artists get, that means they're better than you. They're more popular. That means they get more money. That means they're happier. That means their artwork has more value. That means that they're better than you. And if you ask any of these artists to their face, have you ever felt like you're better than everybody else? They will all laugh at you and say, no. I never feel that way. In fact, I have more shitty days than good. I look at what PewDiePie said in reflection to my own artistic career. I look at the feeling of euphoria that I used to get from producing artwork that I couldn't produce when I learned how to, the first time I drew an eyeball well, or the first time I drew a hand well, or the first time I drew a character that looked halfway decent. I got this real euphoric rush. But then by the time I produced my next work of art, I've already made that accomplishment, so I didn't get nearly the same rush from producing it again. So I couldn't keep producing the same artwork. So we start to produce better, and we strive to do better, and we strive to do more. And then we hit a certain roadblock, so we go and we get ourselves a professional education, and that gives us more growth. And then that starts to stagnate, so that we go and get more education, we grow more, and we keep growing and growing and growing. That feeling of euphoria, that sense of accomplishment that you get as an artist, that I get as an artist when I produce a piece of artwork that I'm proud of, is never better than one I got when I was only 5 days into the game of learning how to draw. It just maintains a certain sense of euphoria. I realized at a certain point that euphoria just doesn't cut it for me anymore. The very act of getting a euphoric rush from my work is not sustainable in and of itself. There needed to be something more important. I needed to have to aim, to achieve, to accomplish something more than that. And that's when I started to look inside and say, okay, I'm getting a certain number of likes, or I get a certain amount of attention from producing this particular type of artwork, but I want to produce stuff that really matters to me. So I, at the sacrifice of everything around me, everything that I felt I had, quote, accomplished, I decided to abandon that and start to delve into subjects that had a lot of meaning to me, that had a lot of depth to me. This is where my real venture of self-discovery started to manifest. This is where I started to realize just who I was as an artist. This is where I started to discover my, quote, style. Because style comes from your passions, from what matters to you, from what's meaningful to you, how you can communicate. I'm passionate about the things that I communicate the best in whichever means that I can communicate it. And if people really recognize Adam for being able to do this particular type of work, if I decide at any particular point in time to change my direction because I feel I've hit a brick wall and I can't grow anymore producing this particular type of artwork, and I wanted to get into abstract expressionism or into surrealism or into pointillism or whatever it is that I want to do, or I make up my own effing genre of art, then I know now not to stop myself. I know to give myself the time needed to get good at something, to know whether or not it's something that actually has value to me. I don't just try a couple of paintings and abandon it. No, I'm talking about giving it a good shot. But if I reach a brick wall expressively with my artwork, I know it's time for me to move on to the next thing and grow and to evolve. And if people look at my artwork and go, what the fuck is that? You know, you used to choose, I love it when you did this art. Thanks, that's great. Thank you so much for the compliment, but I'm doing this now. All right, fine, whatever. I realize that every time I've ever taken a chance with myself, and whenever I've been true to myself and I held on to my integrity as an artist, and I produced the stuff that had meaning, that gave me a feeling of inner accomplishment, not outer accomplishment. Those are the pieces, every one of those pieces are the ones that have the most lasting value to me. Stuff that I look at and I go, that's a piece of crap compared to what I can do today. But I really value what I was communicating. I remember having this certain click in my brain that went, oh my God, something matters in this piece, and I kept going with it. And I can look back at it and not look at it as my crowning achievement technically, but I look at it as an achievement as a human, and that has lasting value to me. I can look back at artwork that I produced many years ago and say, I still like that piece because I remember what I discovered in the process of doing that about me and about my abilities artistically. And I could post that stuff online and it could get 0 likes. I could get thumbs down and I could get boos and it sucks and you're an idiot. And I'd still look at it with a smile on my face and say, yeah, maybe you feel that way, but I love it. And this is one of the reasons why I love PewDiePie so much and I support what he does so much, because he's somebody that despite having it all will never be a sellout like other YouTubers that are willing to shame their country and humiliate and abuse anybody for the sake of likes. People who have no moral compass. People who are complete slaves to popularity. Well, what do I say about people like that? People who I won't name names, although I'm sure if you follow YouTube, you know exactly who I'm talking about. The poetic justice that comes with people like that, the people that are willing to sacrifice it all for the sake of popularity, you know that it's all coming to a crashing, burning end very, very soon. And despite their pathetic attempts at redemption for doing horrible things in the past, deep down inside, they know that if they don't keep that popularity train going, it's gonna crash and burn like that, and they're gonna be yesterday's news. You don't wanna be yesterday's news. If you base your popularity, if you base your value on likes on ArtStation, on likes on Facebook, on likes on Instagram, you're losing touch with what it is that will make you a true artist and what will make you a sustainable artist. Because if you're doing it for likes and you don't get those likes, what are you gonna do next? Give up? Well, if you aren't, if you're not gonna give up having 0 likes on your artwork, then why the hell are you chasing after them in the first place? All right, so with that said, thank you very much for joining me on this week's episode of Behind the Scenes. And I have a very special announcement. Due to all of this stressful weirdness going on with YouTube recently with the way they change things without informing anybody, I decided I had to make a lot of changes to my online mentorship. And in the process of doing that, made lucidpixel.com a public website where you can go and check it out right now. It's completely redesigned. It looks gorgeous. I'm super happy with the way it looks. And you can go there directly right now. You can go straight to the main page. You can scroll down. You can get facts. I have a calendar that you can flip through using the arrow buttons to go and check out my earliest available openings and see a student showcase of beautiful artwork that my students produce. You can go and check it out right now. So thank you very much for joining me on this week's episode of Behind the Scenes. Remember that for the meantime, I'm putting them out every second Monday until we go back to our regular weekly schedule to be announced very soon. My art talks that I put out once a month, and the Brush Sauce Theater Art Contest with myself and Tyler Edlin that you can join in. Open community, free critiques and exposure online. A really awesome community of people that are out to help you out and help encourage you in awesome themes that you can work on yourself if you want to join in the competition. come one, come all. You're all welcome too. So thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you soon. Take care.